My first ever boyfriend of 6 months loved the ass. He liked to rest his hand on the small of my back and stroke down the satin-smooth skin until the high, round cut of it was cupped in his palm. Mama had always said I was lucky. My ass came from my back on a steady slope, not jutting out assertively like so many of my aunties did. And Frederick enjoyed that incline, resting his hand along it when we were watching Netflix or falling asleep on his double. I think the ass might have been the only thing he actually liked about me, in the end. I'm not coming with you. I hoisted my duffel bag higher onto my shoulder, giving my soon-to-be ex-boyfriend an appraising look. Frederick looked sheepish, leaning against his perfectly parallel-parked Lexus with his hands shoved into his pockets and his gaze directed determinedly into the distance. He was the kind of guy whose fashion sense swung dramatically between runway sharp and basement dweller sloppy. And today, in his sun-bleached high school debate tee and raggedy sweats, he was flagrantly going for the latter. It was an outfit barely acceptable for bed, let alone for meeting my judgmental Ghanaian parents. I still remembered what he'd worn on our first date. A blue blazer, starched white button-down, gray slacks. That outfit paired with his sculpted frame, even brown skin, and thick-rimmed glasses, oof, he'd looked good enough to eat. I'd taken one look at him, thought, oh, you'll do, and praised the geniuses behind the Hinge app algorithm for bringing his existence to my attention. Everything about the way he presented himself in public was so deliberate, and once upon a time, that effort had been attractive to me. But now, I knew with certainty that he had specifically chosen this monstrosity of an outfit to signal to me that I would be driving to Naperville alone. He'd probably spent 30 minutes hunting down the rattiest tee in his dresser just to get the point across. He would have done better to spit at my feet. Clearly, I said with a defeated sigh. So what are you doing here then? We both knew the answer to that question. After all, Frederick had been playing the nice guy game for weeks now. The one little boys play when they want to break up with their perfectly fine girlfriends, but don't want to bear the responsibility of hurting her feelings, and so drag things out and misbehave until the girl loses patience and breaks it off first. And he'd played it so well, responding to my complaints about my step exam, a.k.a. every medical student's white whale. You get to take it one time, and if you pass, you're stuck with your score forever. You can retake it if you fail, but that doesn't look great on your application. Mess up and you can kiss your dreams of being an orthopedic surgeon goodbye. No pressure, right? With a half-hearted, that sucks, commenting at large on how hot he found women who looked nothing like me, finding reasons to be too busy to see me that somehow were not present for his boys. He'd been mean when all he'd had to be was honest. And my dumb ass had allowed it. I'd convinced myself that I was being oversensitive, that I needed to give him space, that he didn't owe me the commitment he'd promised me. And because of my own negligence, Frederick was going to end us in the cruelest way possible. Not that he thought he was being cruel. Knowing Frederick, he probably figured that dumping a girl an hour and a half before meeting her parents was being magnanimous. I need to do it to her face, he'd probably told himself. That's what a good guy would do. Even now, his expression was tortured, like someone was slowly driving a screw into his back, as if the burden of dumping me was one he was brave to bear. I'm sorry, he said. He looked me up and down like he couldn't help himself. You look great. In contrast to his shabby outfit, I had chosen a dress that I knew he would like. Midi length and navy, classy, conservative, but form-fitting, so that everyone in the vicinity would know Frederick's girl had body. But physical attraction had never been our problem, had it? Thanks, I said. I crossed my arms, waiting for him to gather his nerve. Frederick mirrored my stance, avoiding my gaze as the silence thickened. Eventually, he cleared his throat. You know, I really was touched when you asked me to come to meet your parents, he started. It was nice to know that you wanted me to see you with your tribe. His delivery felt rehearsed.